Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. We'll begin in 2 minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. As always, I am your host, Fearless Floyd. And as you see, are you a U.S. national and a U.S. citizen? And the answer is yes. And I'm going to cover that. But first, I wanted to bring this up. If you're not familiar with any of this vernacular, I was contacted by my dear friend, Corey Indralat, and that would be Corey Nance. Corey, Nature is the Answer. Nita.1 is his website. Corey, Nature is the Answer on YouTube and I think other social media platforms. But anyway, he wanted to get a roundtable discussion together. The reason because he's anti-government, anti any type of a, well, I'm not going to say anti because I'd be speaking for him, but he doesn't believe, I guess, in the dogma of the assemblies, the jural assemblies, these private membership associations, whatever the entity is called out there that basically is trying to operate in private or trying to extract itself from the matrix or the government and just, want to live a private, peaceful life. And that, covers sovereigns, American state nationals, nationals, people in private membership associations and jural assemblies, et cetera, et cetera. Most of you know who the players are. Destry Payne has his own state assemblies, as well as Anna Von Reitz. I know Doug Mullo's a part of jural assemblies in Florida. And then, of course, we have Lieutenant Dr. Sandy Murecki, retired Lieutenant Colonel, Air Force. And then we have, I believe she's with the Republic of Texas, and then there's another Republic of Texas, but the original, I believe Susan Miller would be the person that would probably come and speak, since I have spoken to her. And it was just, you know, when I tell you guys that I live this just insane divine life, and things just seamlessly merge. And it's, sometimes I want to do something, but something's telling me just, nope, nope, nope. Time's not right. Time's not right. Time's not right. Now. And I'm like, oh, okay. Better go get on that. So while I was up in Plano doing my presentation, I got to meet a lot of fantastic people. Everybody who showed up, thank you very, very much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. I hope you met some like-minded people, got some good material. And if you didn't know about the Sky Pony Gallery, now you do. But I got to meet some people that were, involved in the Republic of Texas. And I don't know if you know the history of the Republic of Texas, but, I do. So it's these organizations, I originally wanted to harmonize everybody, everybody over here in the far corner trying to be private, whatever that looked like, whether you want to call yourself a sovereign citizen, a sovereign, American state national, national state national, private person, sue juris, secured party creditor. Should I go down the list? I mean, it's lengthy. So those people all the way over here to the QAnons and everybody in between, because we all know about the same stuff. The federal government's a corporation, for-profit corporation. So are all the states. So are the courts. Absolutely. The Sestui KV Trust, the straw person, the birth certificate bond. I mean, the Social Security Trust, which when you flip it, like they like to do, because what is DNA? It's a trust full of security so you can operate in society. Oh, they didn't teach you that part, did they? That's your government that you put in charge of your life. And they're charging you up, aren't they? Did you catch that? So we're trying to get this roundtable together of all these, movers and shakers. And listen, I am actually going to send a direct email to Anna Von Reitz personally and invite her to the roundtable. So, yeah. Whether or not she decides to attend, I doubt it very seriously. This is a neutral playground. This isn't, you're going to come on and it's like, we're going to play gotcha. No. This is for Corey. I'm facilitating it because most of these people I've gone down this list, I've personally spoken to. I can call them on my phone or email them or text them or whatever. But I'm looking for more than just, the top 5. We want diversity. We want to hear from as many people as possible. If you've, even if you haven't held a leadership position in any one of these different categories, jural assemblies, PMAs, whatever. We still, we definitely like to hear from you. I don't know what platform. I know where you're probably going to use StreamYard. I don't know how many people that we can actually put on screen at any one time. I know what mine, I don't know what Corey has. So that's something we're going to work out. But for those of you out there, Destry Payne with his, Sandy, I'll reach out to her. I'll reach out to Susan, Eric Ningus, of course. How could you not choose Eric, who has traveled all over this country and spoken to many of you personally, as well as Anna and anybody else who believes that they have some input, knowledge, research, that come in and, talk about what you feel that what your category is, basically. So if you're a juror assembly, you know, why is yours the only one that should exist? Should it exist with just regular assemblies and PMAs, or should y'all all try to harmonize? Because divided, we fall. That's all I can tell you. I've been telling you. You know, and on a side note, and I don't want to take away from anything. Actually, I'm not even going to go there in this video, so I'll keep that out. How's that? I'll do a whole other video on that particular topic. But let's get over here and let me show you what is what. Oh, there we go. This is travel.state.gov, U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Consular Affairs. And whoops, I don't know why that didn't share. Oh, remove that. That's weird. There we go. Don't ask me why I did that. Glad I went and looked before I just started taking off. So basically what we have here is from the U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Consular Affairs, right there. As you see, here's the website, just so you know it's the real deal. No, nothing fake. And there's your bona fides. The site is managed by U.S. Department of State, right there in the bottom left-hand corner. All right, so you know me, Mr. Researcher. Certificates of non-citizen nationality. The Department of State occasionally receives requests for certificate of non-citizen national status pursuant to Section 341B of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, INA, which is Title 8 U.S.C. Section 1452B. And these are all lowercase b's. For those of you who can't see the screen, as defined by the Immigration and Nationality Act, all U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but only a relatively small number of persons acquire U.S. nationality without becoming U.S. citizens. Section 101, lowercase a, 21 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, provides that the term, and I quote, national of the United States, close quote, includes all U.S. citizens as well as persons who, though not citizens of the United States, owe permanent allegiance to the United States, in parentheses, non-citizen nationals, close parentheses. Section 308 of the INA confers U.S. nationality, but not U.S. citizenship, on persons born in, and I quote, an outlying possession of the United States, close quote, or born of a parent or parents who are non-citizen nationals who meet certain physical presence or residence requirements. The term, and I quote, outlying possessions of the United States, close quote, is defined in Section 101, lowercase a, 29 of the INA as American Samoa and Swains Island. No other statutes define any other territories or any other states as outlying possessions. So the only outlying possessions are American Samoa and Swains Island. So that excludes Puerto Rico, Guam, the Marshall Islands, North Marinara Islands. Man, I can just go on and on with those little islands in the South Pacific. But there you go. In addition to Section 308 of INA, Section 302 of Public Law 94-241 provides for certain inhabitants of the Commonwealth of the North Marinara Islands who became United States citizens by virtue of Article 3 of the Covenant to opt for non-citizen national status. See requirements of Section 302 in parentheses. As the Department has received few requests, there is no justification for the creation of a non-citizen national certificate. Designing a separate document that includes anti-fraud mechanisms was seen as an insufficient or inefficient expenditure of resources. Therefore, the department determined that those who would be eligible to apply for such a certificate may instead apply for a U.S. passport that would delineate and certify their status as a national, but not a citizen of the United States. So, there you go, folks. For all of you who really want your passport card to say U.S. national and not U.S. citizen, and you want your passport book to have a specific line written in it that says, and I'm quoting but could be paraphrasing, the bearer of this passport is not a U.S. citizen, but a U.S. national, close quote. So this is what you want to do right here. Therefore, the department determined that those who would be eligible to apply for such a certificate may instead apply for a U.S. passport that would delineate and certify their status as a what? National, but not a citizen of the United States. And that's pretty much just what I paraphrased. So there you go, folks. If a person believes he or she is eligible under the law as a non-citizen national of the United States, and the person complies with the provisions of Section 341, lowercase b of INA, Title 8 USC, Section 1452, lowercase b, he or she may apply for a passport at any passport agency or acceptance facility in the United States. Acceptance facility is a post office as well as a federal court. When applying, applicants must execute a Form DS-11 and show documentary proof of their non-citizen national status as well as their identity. So, if you want to find out what Section 341, lowercase b states, hey, it's right here. So let's roll, Floyd. Pertinent to sections of law on non-citizen nationality, Section 341 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, lowercase b states, a person who claims to be a national but not a citizen of the United States may apply to the Secretary of State for a certificate of non-citizen national status. Upon 1, proof to the satisfaction of the Secretary of State that the applicant is a national but not a citizen of the United States, and number 2, so this is a two-pronged standardized application. Number 2, in the case of a non-citizen national born outside of the United States or its outlying possessions, taking and subscribing before an immigration officer within the United States or its outlying possessions to the oath of allegiance required of an applicant for naturalization. Section 101, lowercase a21 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, the term, quote, national, close quote, means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Section 101, lowercase a29 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, the term, quote, outlying possessions of the United States, close quote, means America, Samoa, and Swains Island. Section 101A, lowercase a36 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, the term state includes the District of Columbia, D.C., Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Virgin Islands of the United States. Section 308 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act. Unless otherwise provided in Section 301 of this title, the following shall be nationals but not citizens of the United States at birth. Number 1. A person born in an outlying possession of the United States on excuse me, or after the date of formal acquisition of such possession. A poor person born, number two, a person born outside the United States and is outlying possessions of parents, both of whom are nationals but not citizens of the United States and have had residence in the United States or one of its outlying possessions prior to the birth of such person. Number three, a person of unknown parentage found in an outlying possession of the United States while under the age of 5 years until shown prior to attaining the age of 21 years not to have been born in such outlying possessions. And number four, the person born outside the United States and its outlying possessions of parents, one of whom is an alien. Wow. Wonder if we can get a definition of an alien. And the other, a national, but not. Yeah, we got a whole new classification of aliens. Are they otherworldly? Or are they just from another country? But not a citizen of the United States who, prior to the birth of such person, was physically present in the United States or its outlying possessions for a period or periods totaling not less than 7 years in any continuous period of 10 years. Of A, capital A, during which the national parent was not outside the United States or its outlying possession for a continuous period of more than 1 year, and capital B, at least 5 years of which were after attaining the age of 14 years. Wow. I don't understand why they come up with all these odd numbers like 5 and 14. That's weird. And the completion of this section B, lowercase b, the proviso of section 301, lowercase g, shall apply to the national parent under this paragraph in the same manner as it applies to the citizen parent under that section. And finally, section 302 of Public Law 94-241, any person who becomes a citizen of the United States solely by virtue of the provisions in section 301, in brackets, applying to those born in or residing in the North Marinara Islands, close bracket, may, within 6 months after the effective date of this section or within 6 months after reaching the age of 18 years, whichever date is later, become a national but not a citizen of the United States by making a declaration under oath before any court established by the Constitution or laws of the United States or any other court of record in the Commonwealth in the form as follows. And I quote, I, John Henry Doe, being duly sworn, hereby declare my intention to become a national but not a citizen of the United States, close quote. There it is in black and white. I didn't make it up. So let's go take a look at some more stuff. And this is Oath of Renunciation of U.S. Citizenship. And this is, again, the INA 340, Section 349, lowercase a5. Section 101, lowercase a22 of the INA states that the term national, well, let me quote that. Quote, the term, and then internal quotes, national of the United States, close the internal quote, means, capital A citizen of the United States, or capital B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States, close quote. Therefore, U.S. citizens are also U.S. nationals. Non-citizen nationality status refers only to individuals who were born either in American Samoa or on Swains Island to parents who are not citizens of the United States. Section 349, lowercase a of the INA, Title 8 U.S.C. 1481, in parentheses, governs how a U.S. citizen shall lose U.S. nationality. Well, there you go. A person who is a national of the United States, whether by birth or naturalization, shall lose his or her nationality by voluntarily performing any of the following acts with the intention of relinquishing United States nationality. Number 5, making a formal renunciation of nationality before a diplomatic or consular officer of the United States in a foreign state in such form as may be prescribed by the Secretary of State. Or 6, making in the United States a formal written renunciation of nationality in such form as may be prescribed by and before such officer as may be designated by the Attorney General whenever the United States shall be in a state of war, and the Attorney General shall approve such renunciation as not contrary to the interests of national defense. Now, I have to question that right then and there, because we'll get into taking the oath right here. I have to ask this question because obviously we're in a proxy war with Russia, right, via Ukraine. And Trump said, I'm going to go over there and broker, a peace deal before he got inaugurated, sworn in. And then he's like, hey, y'all don't want to agree? We're just going to send more weapons over to Ukraine. Did he not just bomb Iran? I mean, those are acts of war. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what, Webster's dictionary, Oxford dictionary, they're using for the definition of an act of war, but I don't know. Seemed like somebody came and dropped 3 bunker busters on my country. I would think that would be an act of war. I would think if some country sending weapons over to a country to send into my country, that would be an act of war. So are we in war? Because legally only Congress can authorize us to go to war, unless we really do have a kingdom. I don't know. What do we have, folks? Do we have this juvenile, delinquent, parasitic bully called Uncle Sam? I don't know. So, I mean, that's a debatable issue right there. Are we in a war? Or are we not? So if we're not in a war, let's just cut off Ukraine. If we're not in a war, let's cut off Israel. There's no reason we should be supporting anybody that's killing other people. Innocent or, that's just not our business. We have to take back our country, folks. Off topic, but that's a good comment. But I want to stay back over here on, let's get back here to the topic at hand before I get distracted and we go off on a tangent somewhere else, like I almost did. Taking an oath of renunciation in a manner prescribed by the Secretary of State under INA, Section 349, lowercase a5, and in parentheses, before a U.S. diplomatic or consular officer abroad, close parentheses, or under INA, Section 349, lowercase a6, parentheses, while in the United States, while within the United States, close parentheses, is the most unequivocal way in which a person can manifest an intention to relinquish U.S. nationality. Listen to that verbiage. Is the most unequivocal way in which a person can manifest an intention to relinquish U.S. nationality. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a sentence in any governmental text where It's actually asking you to manifest an intention. Wow. And that's to get rid of it. So I guess you could turn that the opposite direction to get it, right? Since nationality is a status that under any set of is a status that is personal to the individual U.S. national. It cannot be renounced by a parent or a legal guardian under any set of circumstances. So, for all you parents out there saying, oh, my child's a national, and you have not verified that or done it all properly because they're already U.S. nationals. So don't get confused. So I'll repeat that. It can, since nationality is a status that is personal to the individual U.S. national, it cannot be renounced by a parent or a legal guardian under any set of circumstances. So everybody's a national. If you're born in the United States of America, as it's so fondly called now, yeah. Thanks to illegal immigration, those contemplating an oath of renunciation of U.S. nationality should understand that if the department approves a request for a certificate of loss of nationality of the United States, what they call a CLN, they love their acronyms, under INA, Section 349, lowercase a5, the department's determination of loss of U.S. nationality is irrevocable, except as provided by in Section 351, lowercase b of the INA, and cannot be canceled or set aside absent a successful administrative or judicial appeal. Put another way, once the certificate of loss of nationality of the United States has been issued, the oath of renunciation cannot be taken back. U.S. nationality is not merely suspended, but irrevocably relinquished. That means it's permanently gone, absent a successful administrative or judicial appeal. And you better have your ducks in a row. Consequently, renunciation of U.S. nationality is not a step to be taken lightly and should be understaken. I don't think I've ever run across that word before, and I don't have my dictionary handy. Okay. Should not be taken lightly and should be understaken, should be understood only after serious thought and reflection. Should be undertaken. Okay. There's that. All right, that makes sense. Pursuant to Section 358 of the INA, the renunciation of one's U.S. nationality does not result in one's expatriation until the Department of State approves the CLN. In order for a renunciation under Section 349A, lowercase a5 of INA to be effective, all conditions of the statute must be met. In other words, an individual wishing to renounce U.S. nationality must appear in person and sign an oath of renunciation before a U.S. consular or diplomatic officer abroad at a U.S. embassy or consulate. Section 349, lowercase b of the Act provides any person who has committed or performed any act of expatriation is presumed to have done so voluntarily, but such presumption may be rebutted upon a showing by a preponderance of the evidence that the act or acts committed or performed were not done voluntarily, more likely than not. In addition, please be aware, and this is all in bold, the U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Supreme Court have concluded that the intention to relinquish U.S. nationality required for purposes of finding loss of nationality under Section 349, lowercase a of INA does not exist where the renunciant claims a right to continue to reside in the United States unless the renunciant demonstrates that residence will be as an alien documented properly under U.S. law. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know why these, homeless people just didn't renunciate their freaking U.S. citizenship and go, live in 5-star hotels and, get gazillion-dollar SNAP cards and benefits and transgender surgery and all the good stuff that they just gave away for free the last 4 years. But it is what it is. So anyway, I just want to give you that little tutorial. So, if you're born here, you're a U.S. national by birth. You're also a U.S. citizen. If you'd like to get that, just on your card where your passport card says U.S. national, like Max did, and he had a book because he walked directly into a passport office with an expedited process. And they gave him his credentials, I guess an hour and a half later. And the book has a specific line in it that says the bearer of this passport is not a U.S. citizen, but a U.S. national. Absolutely. So I think I beat that dead horse. So there you go with the U.S. national stuff. And again, Corey asked me to put this together, so I'm going to do what I can and reach out to all those that I know and contacts and try to get this together. I have no idea when we're going to schedule it, so we're trying to, when you're dealing with so many people, everybody has to get on the same page, and that's what we're trying to do. So you can reach me over in my Telegram. You can email me at thefearlessfloydshow@yahoo.com. You can go to my website, thefearlessfloydshow.com. All the information's there, my phone number, all that. You can call me. You can text me, 9 to 9 Central Standard Time. Absolutely. But let's get this together and let's get these movers and shakers and let's have a meeting of the minds because we all want the same thing, right? I think all these organizations would just be tickled pink if we went back to an 1871 republic, right? Where the people run the show, not the people's agents who are actually turncoats, because their allegiance is no longer to the people that elected them to represent them as their agent. But now they are agents to whoever provides the most PAC money, most vacation money, campaign funds. You see the picture? I don't know who said it, but somebody said it. But Congress, they should be up there, and instead of wearing just a 3-piece suit or even a 2-piece suit, they should look like the NASCAR drivers. You got all your sponsors all over you, so we know who you actually really represent. You're not representing the people. That's clear and obvious here in the state of Texas. So, my opinion, the government, way out of control. All of them, every state government, every federal government, every federal government, every federal department, bureau, and agency, every court, dissolved. We're going to start over. Because if you think that the Supreme Court, okay, let me explain to you how screwed up the judicial system is in the United States. The Supreme Court term opens the first week of October. It ends May 31st, although they do give opinions beyond that date. They do sometimes emergency acts outside of their term. But for the most part, in general, roughly 10 to 12,000, and this is a decade old, all this statistics. So I'm sure it's more because we have more people here. There's more litigation than ever. Between 10 to 12,000 legal vehicles, and that means petitions, writs, emergency motions, you name it, everything. 10 to 12,000, and that's a general ballpark figure, are submitted every term. Do Do you know how many cases of those they actually adjudicate and issue opinions? Less than 120. That's 1%. 1%. Is that due process, due course of law? Absolutely not. That's why I say we have such a screwed up system. I'll give you another one. Here in Texas, okay, you have your district courts, which, they got the false labels. It's a criminal court, it's a civil court, it's a family court. No, 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 no. It's a commercial court operating by civil rules and procedures, masquerading as whatever the hell they label it. Okay. So that's your first state level court of recourse, right? Well, if you want to appeal something, and it doesn't matter if it's family law, patent law, copyright law, oil and gas law, banking law, property tax law. Okay. Doesn't matter what field of law, it's going to get appealed to one of 14 courts of appeals, the intermediary court of appeals. Well, that's an elected position. Yeah. So now you're a justice on a court of appeals, and you were a practicing attorney, and all you did was family law. Now you have to adjudicate complicated proprietary patent law, trademark, trade name, copyright, intellectual property. Now you're getting into, DNA, RNA, all these biosciences. We just elected these fools, and now they have this just broad spectrum of every legal category that's out there, every legal field, and they can adjudicate it. No. That's the judicial system here in Texas, folks. That's what that looks like. That's how screwed up it is. You got people that have never even opened a legal book on tax law. Now they're adjudicating tax cases. Absolutely. And then if it's criminal, it goes over to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. And then if it's everything else, it goes to the Texas Supreme Court. That's how screwed up the judicial system is. So let's take our country back. Okay. However we have to do it. If it's one assembly at a time, one city, one township, one commonwealth, one county, one state. This is just ridiculous. It's pitiful. Remember when the FBI was going to go get all these dim legislators from Texas who, cowardly ran out during the special session? Crickets, no arrests, no accountability, just a bunch of political rhetoric, theater, and lies. Welcome to your government. But the problem with this, all these people right here, ego. I've seen that to be one of the major hurdles. People cannot leave their ego outside or out of the meetings or out of the assembly or whatever you have. And they want, they got control, they got power, they got authority. That's what's wrong with the Texas State Assembly of Anna Von Reitz right now. The people are supposed to elect their state coordinator. Well, Anna came in there and punched 3 of them in there. She did. I don't know how. See, I don't know how that whole thing works when, there's a set of rules, but people are acting outside the rules. So how does that even function properly? I just never got that, but it is what it is. It's not my assembly, and I'm not tripping. So, all right. I think I've wrapped up all the topics. So if you know anybody that fits the description here, fits the bill, tell them to hit me up, and let's get this thing established so Corey can mediate this thing, because he's really, he would definitely be a much better moderator than I will, because I am jaded about a lot of things in that movement. So I'm just going to organize it facilitate it, and Corey's going to run it. He's going to be the moderator, and I look forward to getting it done. I don't know when, so reach out, everybody. The outro is coming up. If you want to reach me, fearlessfloydshow@yahoo.com, fearlessfloydshow.com is my website. And your trust class, trust book, whatever. Y'all know where it's all at. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. I have, I think, one more video to do. And then I will probably be gone for a week or two. I have some legal stuff I'm working on. And when I get involved in that, I don't need any interruptions because I have to be focused. So that's why I want to get this lined up and out of the way before I dive into that. And I don't need, be consistently interrupted while I'm researching. So there you go. If you know anybody, get them. We need them. Let's put this together. Let's figure out why all these assemblies and all these different groups are just stagnated, or they're just going in circles. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I really do appreciate it. If I don't see you before the weekend, y'all have an awesome weekend. Stay safe. Come back, and I'll see you. I will be setting up Ann LaFleur's part 20 of her 20-part series on trusts. This will be live, so I'll reach out to her now and get that set up too. I have that already in the queue. So that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for hanging around after the show. I want to present to you Tailor-Made Trust, featuring Ann LaFleur's Trust Series, available at tailormadetrust.com, as well as the fearlessfloydshow.com store. Here are a handful of the available trusts that can be built, custom tailored to your needs and desires. 25 different trusts, plus the DNA trust addendum. And as always, Ann LaFleur's classic trusts and ancillary classes, and also Ann's books on trust and specialty trust, which I also co-authored. If you'd like to get a class, a book, or have a trust custom built for you, always available at the fearlessfloydshow.com store. And I'll see you in the next show. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.